pull. Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Target Focus Life. My name's Steve, and today I have the Browning CXS over-under crossover shotgun, meaning you're supposed to be able to shoot sporting, skeet, and hunt with it as well. So we're gonna take a detailed, in-depth look at this shotgun. Let's go! I'm super excited to do a full review on the Citori CXS. I have got the chance to hunt with it just a little bit, but to actually put it to the test today on the range, I'm always a little hesitant when a manufacturer says it can do all the different things, right? Because all the different things guns are usually set up just a little bit different for. We're gonna get into that today, and really, I'm gonna give my thoughts on whether this gun can be a true crossover. Before we jump into the review, you may have noticed my fancy pouch here, and it just has so much space for shells, for my empty hulls as I'm shooting out here today. And one thing I always like to keep close by is my mount knobs. You know, some days it's long, hard days out here shooting shotguns, doing these reviews. The Ignite, one of my favorite products, brings energy and focus to the work that I do. And if you know anything about me, you know that I really like to talk about focus, the importance of getting dialed in, having that laser focus, but sometimes you just need a little pick-me-up, a little caffeine to go with it without sugar. So you have the nice up, but you don't have the hard down. Lots of good ingredients in here, so it's not bad for your health like some of the other high energy drinks. So just want to give a shout out to Mountain Ops. I love their products. I'm gonna put a link in the description. They're a supporter of the channel, so check them out, support them if you like the products and think they would benefit you, and I know they would. So check it out. Mountain Ops Ignite, one of my faves, but they have so much more than just that. Now back to the review of the Citori CXS. What really stands out about this gun, at least according to Browning, is that you're supposed to be able to use it shooting sporting clays and skeets. Not really a trap gun, but sporting clays and skeet, as well as be able to take this out in the field and hunt with it. This has a 50-50 point of impact, meaning that about half of your pattern is going to be above your point of aim and half is going to be below your point of aim. Right? That's pretty standard for field guns often, some of your sporting shooting and even skeet, but when it comes to trap, not at all. Trap shooting definitely usually has a higher point of impact. Okay, so that's one really quick difference between a field model and a trap model. Other differences are how the stock drops. Field models generally have more drop across the comb than, say, a trap model does. Also, length of pull. Field models often have a little bit shorter length of pull. So for example, the Citori CXS has 14 3/4 inches length of pull. That's from the trigger to the butt end of the gun. The Browning Citori Hunter, which would be more of your field model, is a 14 1/4 inches. So it's considerably shorter, and I think the thought behind that somewhat is that you're in the field, you're potentially wearing more clothes, you don't need as long of a length of pull. So this kind of merges field and a little bit of sporting together. Now, does that make it a great gun for both, or does it make it a mediocre gun for both? We're gonna dive into that. Let's first take a quick look at the specs. The shotgun I have here today is a 20 gauge. I love shooting 20 gauge, but this is available in 12 gauge as well. So that goes without saying, but this is a break action over-under shotgun. The weight of this gun is 7 pounds. Feels actually really great. We'll look more of that at Ergonomics, but if you went to the 12 gauge model, you're gonna add about 10 more ounces, so that'd be about 7 pounds, 10 ounces. When it comes to length of pull, I already mentioned it quickly, but it's 14 3/4 inches, so it is a little bit longer. For someone like me, just about 6 foot, definitely not too long for me. One thing that's really cool about this shotgun that I'll talk about in just a minute is this trigger is adjustable in 3 different positions. So you can actually get that dialed in to where it feels really nice. As far as drop at comb, it is 1.5 inches at the comb drop. The drop at heel is 2 1/4, so you have about 3/4 inch drop. One of the other specs I really like to take a look at is the trigger. First, just feeling the trigger, seeing how it breaks. It is sharp It's maybe a little heavier than I thought it would be. This is an inertia trigger, so it relies on the inertia of the shotgun to reset the triggers. Now, there is another type of trigger called a mechanical trigger, and those are generally on a little bit higher end shotguns. So another line of Citori's is the Citori 725, and I'm gonna do another review on that, so stay tuned for that. And by the way, I've also done a review on the Citori Hunter, so if you're looking more for just a dedicated hunting field model, make sure you check out that review. This trigger can actually be replaced. You can put new shoes on and replace this trigger. So this is a wide textured trigger. I believe there's a smooth one. There's also a canted one that is canted a little bit for a right-handed shooter. In fact, one of the 725s that I have has that canted trigger. Now let's compare that to the Citori 725 that I have here that has a different shoe on it. It's actually a canted shoe, which allows you to easily wrap your finger around. It feels really, really nice. So there's the option that you can replace the trigger shoe. That's a really cool feature. It only comes with one on the Citori CXS. I think the 725 line comes with more trigger shoes, I think 3, but the CXS only comes with one, but you have the option to adjust that trigger. Really cool. Let's get it on the trigger scale and see what it weighs. Oh, nice. It's lighter than I thought it was gonna be. 4 pounds, 5.4 ounces. Let's enter that. Let's do another pull. No way. 3 pounds, 13.8 ounces. We'll enter that one. We'll get an average. One more pull. That was 4 pounds, 10.2 ounces. Either way, when we average those 3 pulls out, we're at 4 pounds, 4.5 ounces. So it's less than 4.5 pounds. Man, I would have guessed it was a little heavier than that. But feels nice. I really like the trigger. I love the fact that you can put different trigger shoes on there. In fact, I was shooting the 725 a little bit this morning, and that canted trigger shoe just feels so great. I mean, because your finger's coming in at a little bit of an angle, right? So it's only natural that maybe you would have a canted trigger. Other things to point out as far as specs of this shotgun is barrel length, and this one is 28 inches, but it's also available in 30 and 32 inch models. Now this gun does come with 3 Invector Plus Midas chokes. I've already went ahead and replaced them with some Carlson chokes, but as far as the stock chokes that it comes with is your standard improved cylinder, modified and full. Now let's take a look at the ergonomics of this shotgun. That's the look, the feel, the function. First thing I like to do is just hold it in my hands, close it right off the bat. I can tell that it's got a slight palm swell right here. So that's important to note. I don't know if you'll be able to see that right there, but it swells out on the right side. So that's great if you're a right-handed shooter, but if you bought this gun as a left-handed shooter, it's gonna feel a little bit strange. Fairly narrow, not a lot of contours. This is fairly straight. It does have a taper on the fore end here, but feels really nice in the hands. Balance-wise, weight-wise, it's a little forward heavy, which isn't a bad thing. Might create a nice smooth swing. I'd prefer a little bit more weight out front, create that nice smooth swing. The checkering on this is cut 18 line per inch checkering. Feels nice, looks nice. For me, that hits really well. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Like I mentioned, 14 3/4 inches length to pull. It is a little bit longer. You could add some additional pads and make it longer, but going shorter is gonna be tough, right? So keep that in mind. If you're much smaller than me, you may not wanna have this gun be so long. You could always get it cut down by a gunsmith, put a new pad on there. It's a lot of work to go through, but that's definitely an option as well. They have a vented rib. This rib is flat with the receiver. I always prefer a stepped up rib that's just a little bit higher. It has an ivory front bead and ivory mid bead. I like the option to have 2 beads, especially if you're gonna get out and maybe try to shoot a little trap with this. It allows you to stack or figure 8 this and shoot a little bit higher. It has the vented barrels, steel receiver, nice looking shotgun, grade 2 wood. The wood, in my opinion, which is a gloss finish, is really nothing fancy, but it looks nice. Looks like a Browning. It has the gold trigger, obviously. Now in the CXS, they also do offer, I believe it's called the CXS White, which has a silver nitride finish. Looks just a little bit different. There are a lot of different variations of this shotgun. Speaking of which, you have the CXS, which is that sporting skeet field crossover. And then you have the CX, which is more of a trap skeet sporting crossover. Has a little higher point of impact. I believe it's a 60-40. Then they also have a CXT, which is more specifically for trap. That has a 70-30 point of impact. And then within all those different lines, you'll see variations, such as some will have adjustable combs and different things like that. So a lot of options in the Citori crossover line, the CXS, and the CXT. And if you'd like to see a big epic showdown between all of these Browning shotguns, the Citoris, put it down in the comments. I'd like to know. And then send some money my way, because that will cost a lot of money to get all those guns in. I'm up for the challenge, y'all. We can do it. So to conclude with ergonomics, I think it feels great in the hands. I love the palm swell, the double beads, a lot to like as far as ergonomics. Real happy with what they've done in this Citori. Let's take a look at recoil, reliability. There's not a lot I'm gonna be able to tell on reliability, as you know, if it ejects, it's reliable. If the firing pins go off, it's reliable. And some of those things you're just not gonna know without years of shooting, thousands and thousands of rounds. So if you have a Browning Citori, whether it's the CX, the Hunter, or any other of the Citori line, comment down below and let us know what your experience has been. How has the gun held up to you over time? That's very valuable for all of us watching this video, reading in the comments down below. Go ahead and throw a few rounds in. Hey, by the way, you just saw me put my ears in. I'm using these AXA wireless Bluetooth headphones and ear protection, which is awesome, because like this morning when Jordan was late to come filming and I'm just kind of getting set up, I was able to put on a podcast. I'm listening to the podcast and he shows up. I'm able to turn it off, get to shooting. Yeah, I just love it. I was also able to make some phone calls with these on. So pretty cool versatility at a great price. If you want to see the best price, I do have a link in the description below. But let's do some shooting. Let's test out recoil, reliability. Here we go. 20 gauge, feels great. These ejectors are also reset by firing the gun, which is a little bit different than some others. I don't know if it's more or less reliable, but they don't eject with much force. I do notice that. They don't come flying out like other guns. You may not like that. But as far as recoil, boy, feels awesome. I really love this gun. Straight back into the shoulder, ejects just fine. Again, put the comments down below if you have this gun, if you've shot a lot of rounds through it. Would love to hear your experience. But recoil wise, I'm loving it. Reliability, I think this is a gun that's gonna stand the test of time. Taking a look at quality of build now, I hit a lot of the points in ergonomics, but it is a steel receiver. Feels great operation, nice and tight. In fact, we'll just break the Citori CXS down and take a look inside. The Citori receiver is a little bit different. They have a hinge pin that goes all the way across and hinges right there on the barrel. So instead of having the hinge lugs or pins on the side, goes all the way across, a lot of surface area, should help with longevity. And in the back of the receiver is a full-length tapered locking bolt. This just, again, gives a lot of surface area to lock in nice and tight, hopefully less wear over time. Very well-built receiver. I believe it's gonna last a long time. The only gripe that I've had with this gun is putting it back together. If you look in the bottom of this receiver, this piece cannot be down like that when you put the gun on. That has to go up, so all you do is turn the top lever and you can push it up. Now that that's up, I can slide the barrel on. Still a little finicky if everything's not, I just need to finagle it. There we go. Just seems a little bit touchy, doesn't go on quite as smooth as other guns, but I do like the design overall as far as quality and longevity. I think that's a great factor. So that's just a quick look inside the Browning Citori. Well, without further ado, let's keep on shooting. It's time for some speed shooting. Steve, why do you speed shoot shotguns, especially over unders? Like, this is not a speed machine. You're right, it's not. But you've been watching the videos, you should know this. If you haven't, here's why I speed shoot, because I'm throwing 2 clays. I'm on the clock. I have to mount fast. I have to shoot fast. I have to recover from the recoil. It's all happening super fast. And I have the pressure of the clock to run against. I start to notice all the details. Trigger reset, mounting, how much recoil it has. I notice these nuances that I don't notice as I go through it slowly. So my fastest time, I believe to date, is 0.99. Is that correct, Jordan? 0.99, that was with a Browning synergy, I think I can do it faster. All right, here we go. Well, if you haven't noticed, there's been something different about this video. I didn't have the backwards hat on the whole time, but if we're gonna speed shoot, I gotta have a backwards hat on. I don't like the brim of my hat impeding my view at all. Here we go, 0.99. It's the score to beat. That was fast shooting. 1 second, but it doesn't count if I miss 2. But you know what? That gives me the belief, definitely doable. Don't you think, Jordan?
Yeah.
1.01. Okay, we got one in the books. Just gotta get faster now. Trying to break that 0.99. I'm not trying to break it to break the gun speed. I'm trying to get better. That's what I'm trying to do. I wanna get faster. So that was fast, 0.91, but shot over both the clays. I'm peeking a lot on this gun. I really gotta get my head down and into it. Boom! That's what I'm talking about. 0.96. I'll take that. That's my new fastest score. Helps to do it on a 20 gauge. Don't deal with the recoil nearly as much. Took me 0.74 seconds to get on that first clay. That is fast, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of times when I'm shooting semi-autos, it's taking me 0.8, 0.85 to get on that first clay. I was able to really mount this gun quickly, well, very naturally. The one downside I did experience in this speed shooting test is I like to peek up over the top. That's sometimes, like I mentioned earlier in the review, what I experience on these flat ribs is I just feel like I got to get my head up and over a little bit. Otherwise, really enjoyed shooting it. Had no trigger issues. Love the mount, love the size, love the handling of this gun. Overall, great gun, super happy with it. And I can't wait to now get out the 725 and review that. That review is going to be coming up. Stay tuned. But remember, guys, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only going to hit those targets that you're laser focused on. So live target focused. See ya!